Hi everybody. Today I'm going to do a short tutorial for using a PC system. This is a beginner's lesson. I would intend to use this as the first lesson of the first day for the half of the PD participants who are put into the PC lab at first. The other half of the participants will be in the Mac lab doing a similar lab for Macs to get used to using a Mac keyboard. And then at noon, the two groups would switch so that everybody will get this instruction, either first thing in the morning of the first day or immediately after lunch on the first day. So logistically, or the context of this section of the PD would be everybody would be in a computer lab that has PC computers at every station. And the facilitator would be in front of the room doing the same thing that the participants are doing, leading them through the steps. So behind me, as I sit at the teacher station, would be a smart board or a projector so that everybody could see what I'm doing and they would follow along and then ask questions as they see fit. So to begin with that, the first thing that I've done is I've logged into my own PC account, and this is a portion of my desktop. The first thing that you may notice is I have way too many icons. A lot of people prefer not to keep any icons at all. And I've got them, what I've done here, I wanted to take a look at what I had, so I just found an empty portion of the desktop and I right-clicked with my mouse. And so I have some choices. I can view my icons. I can arrange them in different ways. Like, for example, right now I've got them on small icons because there's so many. If I change that to medium, you'll see that the icons remain the same, but that they are just a little bit larger. So since I have so many, I change them back again. Now, if you're new to this, I would really suggest not having any icons at all. There are things that are called icons, and there are things that are called shortcuts. So like right here, for example, when you see a little arrow like that, that just means it's a shortcut to Google Chrome. Well, I have down here Google Chrome in my tray or on my taskbar, so having this is irrelevant. So the first thing that I will do is I will put my cursor arrow over Google Chrome and I will right click it and I'll delete it. So one down, 700,000 left to go. This is like I said, this is the desktop, and you can change the appearance. You can change the background if you like, or you can make it plain. You can change the colors. You can turn it into a slideshow. You can put pictures of your children, your husband or whatever if you want to, and you would have access to do all of those things. So one picture, several pictures as a slideshow, or just some background. So some of the features are, aside from the desktop where we have all of these icons and shortcut, are down here along the bottom. Now this is sort of a combination. Over here is the start key, and if you are a Mac user, the start key is similar, not exactly the same, but similar to the command key on a Mac. So if you click it, left click it, you get icons that indicate the programs that you have loaded on your computer. If you don't like that layout, if you're sort of an old school Windows user, you can right click that same button and you get sort of, it's an old school sort of a system where you can still do exactly the same things, but they're just arranged in a way that was more common prior to Windows 10. Next, we have a search feature, and the search feature also is sometimes it's identified by the name Cortana, and you can ask it questions if you have your voice enabled situation running on your computer. I don't do that at my desk because I work in an office, and I sort of have to talk to myself when I'm recording lectures all day anyway, so it's just one less thing. Now right here, if you look at this, is a settings button, and as we go, and once again I just right clicked on my excuse me, left clicked on my start button again to bring up this menu. So you can just click anywhere to get rid of that. Now also down here on the taskbar are some things that you can customize for yourself. For example, I have my access to Google Chrome, which is my browser of choice. Windows comes with either Microsoft Explorer or Microsoft Edge, depending on the version, and both of them are shown. The icon for them is a letter E. I don't know if I even have it here, and I have to say, I just personally, I really dislike the Microsoft browsers. I think that Google Chrome is greatly superior. I also like Firefox. The retrieval time and the features are just a little bit, well, quite a bit better. So if you have your machine set in default mode, you will get either Explorer or Edge, and I would recommend changing that right away. So how do you change it? Well, what you do is pull this up, and if you go to default programs, this is one way to do it, and you can see that we have a bunch of different choices here, and I've chosen as my default web browser to be Google Chrome, and when your machine comes, it will come loaded with Internet Explorer or Internet Edge, and you have to change it at that point. So, but you would just click whichever one you like, Google Chrome for me, and then just close it out and it will be saved. If you reset, it will go back to Edge or Explorer. So you can also change the background and the colors and all of the other things. I'm not going to go into too much detail with this because a lot of it is aesthetic. But if you wanted a different picture, for example, you could choose either a solid color or slideshow. You could choose a picture. You could choose one that's put in, that's one of the default backgrounds, or you can browse your own pictures. Like here's an opera singer from the 1920s named Astrid Varnay. And if I just really wanted Astrid to be my my background, I could do that just that quickly as well. Now you can do it also by changing to the, come down here, coming over here to your desktop, right clicking, personalizing, and then I decide I really don't want to look at her all day, so I change it to something different. And there we go. All right, so those are some of the features that you can use in order to change it to your liking. Now, the other thing that is in the tray or on the taskbar are different documents that you're working on, and I just have a habit of leaving documents open all day long until the end of the day, and then at the end of the day I come back and I see what's still open and I try to finish it off or do something logical with it, but there's no necessity for having this much stuff. I just kind of apparently like to work in chaotic situations, so I have a lot of icons and I have a lot of stuff in my tray. Now, some other things you have here are programs that you use a lot. For example, here I have the Kindle Reader, and one of the reasons that I have the Kindle Reader on my desktop is because both of our textbooks for this class I have on Kindle. So while we are going through class, I can open Kindle and take a look at my textbook and open it and read some sections and go back and sort of integrate that in my thinking with the class. So you have a combination then of programs that you like to use and documents and items that you are working on. And then also you have a settings key, which gets you back to some other things. Well, I'm here, just stretch that out. You can see this is the 3rd edition of Designing Professional Development Teachers. And if I go to my library, I also have the design for how people learn. And so I can access both of those while we're in class. So that's kind of handy. Anyway, we also have, oops, now I have to come down here, stretch this out a little bit more. There we go. So in addition to those things, we have some different icons. Here's my Zoom icon. These are like things that are running in the background of your computer. So if your CPU ever starts to slow down, CPU stands for Central Processing Unit, and if it starts to slow down, one of these may be the culprit. So here are my speaker settings, my internet connection, and so forth. Oh, this was kind of an interesting thing to me. When you take a look at network settings, you see that Windows still allows you for dial-up. So I hope none of you are doing that. I would have to be a lot cleaner with my data usage if we were still using dial-up, because dial-up is many orders of magnitude slower than what we use today, whether it's direct satellite link or broadband or wireless, all of the above. So anyway, these are sort of the main features. Now, one thing I wanted to show you that's really important, especially when you start working with programming and you have files and you want to keep them in certain locations and move them to other locations, is the filing system. Now, you can pin this to your taskbar, which I'm going to show you how to do, and I'm going to unpin it so I can show you how to pin it again. But it may or may not be available to you here. So if it is not available, it's something that you're going to want to use all the time. So you hit the Start button, you do a left click on the Start button, and then you can go to two different places. You can either go to Settings, which I've shown you already, or you can go to the Windows, no, not the Administrative Tools, but the Windows System right here. And you'll see that one of my choices is the File Explorer. Now, I'm going to open it up in just a moment, but since I use it all the time, I also want to pin it to my taskbar. So what I'm going to do is put my cursor here, right click, and if I pin it to Start, it's going to come over here, which is also handy because every time I push the Start button, I'm not going to have to look for it anymore. But the other thing I'd like to do is to pin it to my taskbar. So I'll grab that icon and I'll drag it to my taskbar, and in a perfect world it would have come right down here, but it did not. So let me try again. Let's see, I don't want to unpin from Start. Maybe I have to go to the other one, but let's try it here. I'm going to try and put it right here. There it is. Okay, so now it's pinned to my taskbar, so every time that I turn my computer on, I'll have my filing system available to me. Okay, so if I click my filing system, what I'll see is a screen that looks like this. And you see over here on the left, I have all of the drives that I have, and then I just have some that I've accessed recently, such as a class EDRE 5620 that I took last fall. But the thing that we're going to talk about in the next video is what happens with this microbit. So this is an item that we're going to learn how to program. And the microbit plugs into my PC via a USB cord. So the first thing I'm going to do is to plug the USB cord into my machine, into my computer, that is. Now, I have a virtual machine at work, so this is a little bit sloppy. I'm going to duck my head down here and dig around until I can get it plugged in. But if I were in a organized computer lab, I could probably do this without making a mess of myself. Okay, the reason that I did this was I wanted to show you that when I do this, over here on the left, I have an icon that says microbit, and there are a couple of files in the microbit. So what that means is my computer is talking to my microbit through the USB port. And if I wanted to write a file to the microbit, I could very simply grab that file, which is what we're going to do in the next video. So grab means I would put my cursor on the file and I would bring it up here to the microbit and I would drop it. So in other words, touch the file, hold down the left key, drag it up to the microbit and release the key. And that would put the file in the microbit. Now you can do that pretty much anywhere. Like if I wanted to put something in my C drive, for example, if I wanted to take my, what is this, this is my, let's see, here's a tech math thing. So I grab it, or if I want to, I can right click it and say, if I want to grab that and move it over here, I can just do that. All right. So those are some of the skills that we're going to need in order to get ready to do the programming with the microbit. And that's sort of a brief introduction that we would cover in the first 30-minute module of the first day of class. Thank you for your attention.